Hello everyone, and welcome back to Turkish series stars. We're thrilled to have you here with us again. Today we're diving into a detail that's been stirring up plenty of whispers, reposts, and raised eyebrows across timelines and fan pages. It centers on a familiar pair we've followed through red carpets, interviews, and the quiet gaps between projects, Cemre and Gökberk Yildirim. And the spark for all this renewed chatter? Cemre still wearing a gift from her ex, Gökberk. Yes, that tiny, polished reminder, the kind you don't just toss into a drawer, keeps showing up in the most public of moments. So what are we really looking at here? A breakup, a keepsake, and a question that refuses to settle. What does it mean when a bond ends, but an object remains? Today we'll trace the story, unpack the symbolism, and sift through the possibilities. And as always, your interpretations matter. They're personal, layered, and often reveal as much about us as they do about the people we watch. Before we unravel the thread, a quick reminder, if you haven't already, subscribe to Turkish series stars. It's free, and it's how you'll catch every deep dive, every soft-spoken clue, and every moment when a small gesture suddenly becomes the headline. Tap subscribe, hit that bell, and stay with us. Let's rewind. Cemre and Gökberk were, for a while, that couple whose quiet chemistry needed no announcement. They were neither performative nor secretive, they simply existed in each other's orbit with a kind of calm that felt refreshing in an industry that rarely sits still. Work schedules got intense, travel stacked up, life happened, and eventually they parted. No spectacle, no scorched earth. Just an ending shaded by respect and the kind of restraint that tells you two people are guarding something fragile and real. And yet, that gift. People noticed it first in an airport clip, Cemre striding past cameras, casual elegance, hair tucked behind one ear, and there it was, a slim, distinctive bracelet hugging her wrist. Then again at a press junket where the lighting picked up its faint engraving. Later, a candid at a cafe, sleeve pushed back, sunlight catching metal. Even in a behind-the-scenes rehearsal photo, it appeared easy to miss if you weren't looking, impossible to ignore once you were. This isn't some throwaway accessory. It's not a hat you grab on your way out the door. It's a piece with weight, likely something Gökberk chose for a reason, with a memory attached. And that's where the speculation ignites. Is Cemre simply keeping something she likes, something that suits her? Or is she sending a message? Quiet, deliberate, and unmistakable to the one person it's meant for? Let's consider the heart-level possibilities. One reading is tenderness without turmoil. She cherishes the chapters they shared, even if the book changed course. By wearing the gift, she honors the good without reigniting the painful. It's a sign of maturity, the kind of adult grace you rarely see spotlighted. Another reading leans more charged, a gentle tap on the door of the past. Not a plea, not a provocation. Just presence. A reminder to him, to herself, to all of us, that love doesn't vanish, it transforms. And we can't ignore the reality of celebrity. Public figures learn early that every detail is data. A bracelet becomes a paragraph. A repeated bracelet becomes a conversation. Cemre knows this. She isn't wearing it in the shadows, she's wearing it where cameras live. But that doesn't automatically mean strategy. Sometimes the truest form of rebellion in a curated world is authenticity. Maybe she refuses to edit a story that mattered to her, just because we expect clean breaks and tidy narratives. We should also talk about the gift's nature. Fans who freeze frame and zoom believe it has engraving, maybe initials, maybe a date, maybe an inside word we'd never decode. If that's true, its meaning runs deep. If it's simply well-made, comfortable, and part of her look, the symbolism thins, but it doesn't evaporate. Objects hold energy. They absorb laughter, long drives, airport goodbyes, late-night rehearsals, and those quiet silences where two people learn how to breathe next to each other. You can't polish that away. Context matters too. Cemre and Gökberk didn't detonate their bridge when they split. They stayed civil. They showed kindness in their distance. That alone tells us about their inner worlds, careful, thoughtful, protective. It wouldn't be surprising if they kept certain rituals or artifacts intact. Perhaps the bracelet is more than a relic, perhaps it's proof that endings can be soft, that you don't need to torch what once brought you light. There's also the practical angle, less romantic, but no less real. Sometimes a piece becomes part of your daily rhythm. It sits right on your wrist bone, never snags, never feels out of place. It reminds you who you were at your best, grounded, inspired, loved. Why give that up, just to appease an audience craving closure? Of course, the flip side is intrigue. In the world of coded captions and sly refollows, an object can stand in for a sentence you're not ready to say out loud. Could the bracelet be a metaphorical open door? Could it be a kindness extended across the quiet? When Cemre wears it to a rehearsal or a casual brunch, is she simply herself, or is she speaking a language only two people fully understand? What about Gökberk's position in all this? He's kept his lane steady. No moody posts, no cryptic playlist drops, just work and measured appearances. Yet you have to imagine that seeing the bracelet resurface, in crisp photos, in passing frames, lands in the chest. Is it comfort? Is it a twist of nostalgia? Is it permission to remember without spiraling? Maybe all of it at once. The human heart is rarely tidy. Let's step back and look at the bigger picture of post-breakup choices. Some people purge everything, letters, hoodies, songs that carry too much ache. Others cure it. They keep the one book that changed their thinking, the watch that fits just right, the bracelet that feels like a promise kept, even if the relationship shifted. Neither approach is superior, both signal how a person metabolizes loss and preserves meaning. If Cemre is a curator, it tracks with the way she's handled pressure, calmly, with a preference for understatement over spectacle. Could there be a media calculation here? It's possible, though it doesn't entirely fit their style. Manufactured drama would require beats they've never played, flirtations with scandal, coordinated leaks, performative breadcrumbs. This, by contrast, is a quiet heartbeat. Wear. Repeat. Let people wonder. If it was a strategy, it would be a subtle one, more like letting a rumor breathe than forcing it to run. Another layer, identity. When you're known for your roles, your face, your red carpet stance, some items feel like anchors. They pin you back to yourself. Maybe that bracelet isn't about him or them, but about her, the version of Cemre who laughs during downtime, who wraps an oversized sweater around herself after a long day, who says yes to simple, enduring pieces. Maybe it's her reminder that she doesn't have to erase the past to move into the future. And yet, sentiment has a way of glowing through practicality. Fans aren't just seeing a bracelet, they're seeing a pattern. On travel days when comfort is king. On stage-adjacent moments when nerves are high. On afternoons when the light turns warm and soft. It appears, again and again, like a steady friend. That's why the conversation keeps circling back. Continuity feels like intent, even if the intent is wordless. There's also the question of what we expect from public figures after a breakup. We tend to demand absolutes. Dramatic exits. Symbolic cleanses. New loves and grand statements. But lives unfold in gradients. Cemre's choice might be gently radical, the acceptance that love's residue can be gentle, not dangerous, that it can travel with you without weighing you down. She's not flaunting it. She's not hiding it. She's letting it be. And what about the possibility, the one keeping shippers up late, could this be the slowest of slow steps toward reconciliation? Maybe, maybe not. If it is, it wouldn't look like flashy declarations. It would look exactly like this. Respect first, friendship resurfacing, tiny signals wrapped in ordinary days. If it isn't, it still reads as tenderness. Two truths can stand together, gratitude for what was, and clarity about where you are now. For those fixated on the engraving, let's entertain the romantic theory. Imagine it's a date only they share, maybe the day they read scripts side by side, or a city where they got lost and somehow felt found. If the bracelet carries that, then wearing it isn't only about memory. It's about a private compass. When the day gets noisy, it points her toward calm. This is the kind of meaning no headline can fully spell out. We should also recognize the protective instinct this couple has consistently shown. They choose silence over spectacle. They don't let the public dictate their timetable or turn their story into a carnival. In that light, the bracelet might be the only part of the tale they're willing to leave in view, a soft edge, visible but unexplained. If you've ever kept a small gift after a goodbye, you know how complicated simple things can be. You also know that you don't keep them to play games. You keep them because they hold a shape your heart recognizes. Cemre wearing that piece may be less a provocation and more a peace treaty, with herself, with time, with someone who mattered. So where does that leave us? With possibility. With nuance. With a reminder that in an industry defined by sound bites, the most honest stories are often told through texture and repetition. The bracelet endures. The question lingers. The people at the center remain careful, dignified, human. As we close, a few takeaways rise to the surface. Cemre's choice to keep wearing the gift can be read as maturity, a refusal to rewrite history for the sake of a cleaner narrative. It can be read as a whisper, a low, steady signal that affection never had to morph into resentment. It can be read as practicality, a favorite piece doing what favorite pieces do, showing up. Or it can be all of the above, because that's how real life functions, layers upon layers, none canceling the others out. Whatever the final meaning, it has done what meaningful gestures do. It's made us look closer, think deeper, and remember that behind the polished posts are hearts negotiating their own private weather. Maybe that's the real gift here, the chance to witness grace in motion, without demanding a confession. Tell us what you see. Is Cemre simply honoring a beautiful object? Is she drawing a soft circle around a memory? Is there a message folded into her routine, the kind that only the two of them fully hear? Drop your thoughts below. We read everything, and your perspectives always sharpen the conversation. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like the video, share it with that friend who notices the smallest details, and subscribe to Turkish series stars so you never miss an episode. We'll keep following the quiet clues and the bright ones, and we'll be here when the next piece of the puzzle appears. Until then, take care, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next one.